everyone. I'm Aminata Kanbalde, your host for this event, and I hope we are all keeping safe and taking the precautionary measures to protect ourselves against the COVID-19 pandemic. As much as we have missed this great audience, as we are coming back together, it's very necessary that we abide by those rules to protect one another. Dear audience, I'm super excited to welcome you to this new season of the Ignition Hour, where we bring to you great entrepreneurs in an effort of helping you be ignited by their journeys and experiences. Whether you are young entrepreneurs or contemplating embarking on that path. This game changer that is the Ignition Hour is brought to you by Craving for Development, an organization that is committed to equipping young African people with the requisite knowledge of being proactive, independent, and impact-oriented. I would like to invite all of us to project ourselves and imagine an Africa where curiosity, engagement, and grit are the driving forces of our youth. At the Ignition Hour, we are on a mission to make that happen. And we are just getting started. Because our countries need great innovators and entrepreneurs who are ready to do what it takes to challenge the status quo. Another projection that is worth doing is one where our African youth are fully empowered, protected from drugs and alcohol misuse, and can express their fullest potential to engage themselves in the development of their countries. The topic of this edition is drugs use and misuse. Drugs and alcohol use and misuse. The disheartening way our youth are reverting to drugs emphasizes the need for us to discuss the topic and find ways and means of protecting them from it. Did you know that presently Sierra Leone is the principal producer of cannabis sativa in the Mano River Union? It is also the chief exporter of the drug in West Africa to other African countries, the Middle East, Europe, and the United States. The same survey also reveals that both cannabis sativa and brown are used in the production of local hard drinks with serious harmful effects for consumers. The country is a major distribution transit zone along the West African coast for South American trafficking organizations, establishing safe havens for the receipt, storage, and transshipment of large consignments of cocaine destined for European and North American markets. Standard Times Press newspaper. To discuss all that and much more, we have two great experts and role models in our midst, namely Madame Elizabeth Agatha Musa Konteh, who is the founder and the managing director of For Her Initiative, and Mr. Sahid Bangura, who is the co-founder and the director of CODAP, creating opportunities for disadvantaged persons. Mr. Bangura will join us soon, and we'll start the conversation. Preparedness, sustained improvement, and resilience are words that would accurately describe their personal attitude to things. Both are youth advocates, and persons with disabilities and substance use disorders are also very key to people they're helping. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming the two speakers. The other one just came, joined us, and that's what men do, they always come late, isn't it? Okay, so Elizabeth, thank you so much. Yeah, I would like, just before we go deeper into the conversation, to ask you a little bit about, why the field of drugs, and in your own case, the girl child. Why did you embark in protecting the girl child against, all the abuses possible, but also drug use and misuse?
Well, I think they come at a great opportunity. Have we started, or maybe it's just like a science?
Yeah.
Science. Okay. So basically, when we talk about girls, we're talking about the women that will hold society tomorrow. And women, obviously, they are the pillars of society. So if a girl is being involved, in conflict at some age, there is every possibility that her future is going to be ruined. There's not only her future, there's every possibility that even the generation is to come has to stay. Because they actually are the pillars of society, the whole household as well as society. So the issue of drug, to tackle drugs among girls, is very, very eminent, and I think this is so significant at this period in our country.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll come back to you on that. Sahid, thank you for being late, as men always do. Okay, so I just wanted to know, why the field of drugs and disadvantaged people? Why did you choose that field for your entrepreneurship?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for coming late. Why drug abuse? Why did I decide to base my voices on drug and alcohol abuse? I have a history of drug abuse. During the senseless civil war in Sierra Leone, the 11-year senseless war in Sierra Leone, we are heading to Guinea when my elder brother had an accident. He had an accident, automatically he became disabled. So when we returned late in 2002, my brother involved himself into drug and alcohol abuse, and also he presents symptoms of mental illnesses. But unknowingly to the family that he had been misusing drugs since when he was a child. So when the accident happened, the family realized that my brother is misusing drugs and he presents serious symptoms of mental illnesses. They had to take him to the provinces. Even the family member don't want to see him closer. They started saying it has something to do with spiritual and everything. When I went to Frabe College and I started studying social work, in my course of study, we did what we call mental health and direct practice. Everything is basically interventions on mental health. Then I did a module related to drug and substance abuse. Actually, I realized I see the symptoms of my brother in the module that the lecturer was lecturing then. I had to go home to my mom. I said, you know what? My brother is not suffering from mental health issues. He's suffering from substance use disorder. He needs to be back in Freetown. Automatically, it was very tough because even family members don't want to see someone who presents symptoms of substance use disorder. I had to be an advocate for my brother to come back. And I see exactly the impact he created in the family. We're supposed to have an elder brother who's supposed to take care of us in our African setting, but it turns the other way around. We are now taking care of him. And I don't want the history to repeat to other young people. I decided to come on this fight. And I had been doing that for the past 2 to 3 years now.
Thank you for that great work you're doing. Thank you so much. So Elizabeth, if we could just, again, before being taken by the depths of the discussion, just know more about the challenges that are related to, to working in drugs and alcohol misuse.
Well, as far as women is concerned, challenges are plenty because you try to look at it, somebody doesn't have a job and is trying to get something to take his mind off his problems. So it boils down to society. What are the opportunities available to us? So the challenges are many. But that doesn't stop us from, as Sahid said, knowing for preaching the message. Because we have to change the mentality of our society. We have to create that kind of mind orientation to actually ensure that because the future of this nation lies in the hands of young people. And the people that are more vulnerable to this kind of abuse are young people. So I think between the government, the opportunities, the limited opportunities, and also available for young people are among the many challenges that we have.
Okay. What about success stories? Like personal success stories along the line? Do you have some to share?
Okay, for me, basically, for me and my initiative, one of the success stories is that, we are talking to girls, and for now, not everyone will hear us. But for the time being, we've got like over 250 girls that actually follow us that we say, these are our human interest stories. We can point at, these are people that are looking up to us as role models and they want to be like us, like people, strong women in society. So I think if we have that kind of number, imagine over 200 girls turn out to be strong women, women that can impact society, see the people that we create in our community. So I think that's one of our success stories we can be proud of.
It is. And especially when you were reaching out to those remotely situated areas and those girls who don't, have people coming to them with those type of programs. So
yes, so basically our job, our own operation areas is going beyond freedom. Going beyond where the opportunities are. We are going down to the public communities, we are going down to where girls are actually being disadvantaged. We see them try and we see how we can work together to transform their lives. So to become better people, not only for themselves, but for the nation as a whole.
Yeah, so Sahid, for you, what are the challenges that you have been experiencing along the line?
The challenges are great because raising such awareness on issues of national issues like this is very challenging. We all know the issues of drug and alcohol are not well addressed in the country. Many people believe that some of us that decided to go to this fight is because of money or when you graduated from the university or employment made you to have something like that. The challenges are great. For me, I have a paid job. I worked for a German company wherein I'm paid, but I just decided to follow my passion because it gives me joy. It gives me a lot of opportunities. The reason, even when I came late, is that one of my boys that I normally provide, I used to provide group sessions for some of those boys. One of them involved into serious general medical condition. Because when they are in the withdrawal symptoms, they had to present several symptoms. One of them was admitted 3 days ago at Konteh Hospital. Something popped up. They said he had he need to go through surgery. So I was raising the money. Someone sent money. I had to go there to pay the bills before I come here. So it's something that we just have passion for. The challenges are great. People are not paying much attention when it comes to drug and alcohol abuse. And what people fail to realize is that if one child, for example, one of us in this room is misusing drug, and that person is a young person, the tendency for all of them to go into drug is very high because peer influence has a great role to play. But people tend not to pay attention to it. People don't want to talk about it. They are afraid of family members. So we face a lot of challenges when we try, even the support system that sometimes we want to give, it's very challenging. And the belief system, for people to believe that when someone goes into drug and alcohol abuse, sometimes the person just needs intervention strategies that will help him or her to come back to normalcy. It's very challenging for people to believe that. A lot of people have to believe in the traditional aspect. Yeah, their claims might be true, and I buy that 200%, but even to visit the psychiatric hospital is very challenging. So these are some of the challenges that we face. One will go to the unit today for providing psychosocial counseling to him or her. Tomorrow the individual will not do again. And all over the world, we know what it takes when you provide counseling for an individual. The therapist is well paid, but we are doing it free. But it's very challenging for people to access the facility, the belief system. That's the biggest challenge. And the trust-filled relationship. A lot of people fail to trust you, thinking that, if I expose my story, maybe Sahid will take it as an example. So the confidentiality, how people to build that trust is very challenging in the work of drug and alcohol abuse.
We'll come back to the trust and even the confidentiality of trained social workers. Just wanted to know a little bit about your success stories, in this journey.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of success stories. when I started late in 2017, a group of young graduates decided to come together for us to do this. We started it like a child's play. We are proud to say we've touched many lives. And I had a boy who said education is not for him anymore. So he had been in drug into all his life. Starting this program, this boy decided to come to us. I had to do continuous support system to the family. He got 4 credits, including English language. I encouraged the boy to start up a diploma course at Valley College. Presently, he just finished his diploma and he's trying to go for his first degree program. So that was an amazing journey that we did. And recently, we will be partnering with a clinical psychologist who helped with so much telepsychotherapy for some of the boys that misuse drug, even some girls. And we have 10 mini pilot programs that we are doing, and those boys are doing amazingly well. By February, I will invite you personally. Some of them will start doing some technical courses and even things that will empower themselves. I'm proud to say most of them now are not misusing drug, and will help them greatly in doing things. So these are some of the success stories we've achieved as an organization and as an individual. We've been doing a whole lot.
Very proud of what you guys have been doing, even like especially with the very scarce resources that you have had. So just wanted to now go into the discussion regarding drugs. So what is defined as drugs in the context of interest and alcohol misuse exactly?
Okay, drug is any substance. It could be paracetamol, it could be relief. It depends to how you consumed it. I believe when you feel ill, you go to the hospital. The doctor or the nurse or the pharmacist will tell you when and how to take a drug. For example, if you are not feeling too well, you say take 2 paracetamol, then you decided to take 4, you already misused the drug. And for some of us that came from a family wherein everybody believes that the mom is the doctor, she's the teacher and everything. When you got ill, for some parents, if you go tell your mom that, oh, I'm not feeling well, your mom will say, take 2 paracetamol. Within 2 to 3 minutes, you go back to your mom and say, Mama, me ate still the heart. The mom will say, take another 2, drink water, lead up. You already misused the drug. So if you do that. So it depends to how you consume the drug. All psychoactive drug has an implication. And also in Sierra Leone, we have...
What is psychoactive drug?
Like the psychoactive drugs, like the ones that you take for medicational purposes or other issues that you just want to relax yourself. We also have like 3 illicit drugs in Sierra Leone, wherein they are prohibited for you not to use them. A lot of us misuse, even sometimes someone will say, tramadol is not an illicit drug. We have like the marijuana, which we call the jamba, or the jumbo, how young people call it. And we also have the marijuana, the cocaine, and the brown. These are the 3 illicit drugs that we have in Sierra Leone, according to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act of 2007. If you are caught with such drugs, you are entitled to pay a fine or you go to prison for 10 or 20 or 25 years. It depends to the crime you committed. So, but people don't know some of these things, and people don't even know, even like tramadol is not an illicit drug. The relief, some of us take it, is not an illicit drug. But these are the 3 illicit drugs that the government of Sierra Leone say we should not use.
And as practitioners, you who are working in the field and who have the interest of those populations in mind, and who know that there are other drugs, or there are other means of getting high, for young people, and those still, get them away from track, hinder them from doing what they're supposed to do in society, like schooling and all that. So what I have now in mind is, the use of pampers as a means of getting high, and so many other like unbelievable ways of getting high. So even though the government doesn't, or the authorities don't consider that as illicit drugs that you can be arrested for, what do you as practitioners do to protect the is it first of all true? Are people using diapers, feces to get high first of all, and then second, like what are you doing to prevent them from harming themselves using those products?
Well, actually, like for me, my education, my messages I used to give to young people or even elderly people. One thing about drug, even a pharmacist or a doctor will tell you that each and every drug has its reaction. And for a child who is not yet 25 years old, when that individual go into drug and alcohol, we have what we call impaired memory. The child will not think logically. He or she easily forgets. For example, even in a gathering, no sooner than that individual sits there, he or she will start sleeping. So even in class, most of them will not concentrate. There was a popular adage going on especially for school goers. They used to tell you that when you go into drug and when you take marijuana, marijuana will help you become intelligent. One day I told them, if you have exams tomorrow, just go home, smoke your marijuana, or make it the Butcher's way. Do what you gotta do, relax, don't study, go the other day if you pass the exam. So these are some of the misinformation people used to give to young people. And any drug has its reaction, like I rightly mentioned. So if you are a child below the age of 25 years, you started taking drug, you have impaired memory. Some even will become disabled. Some even will have what we call premature aging. You see an individual, the individual say, I'm 18 years old, but the individual resembles like someone who is 25 or 30 years old. Because what is in you manifests outside. So these are all the implications. Like for our messaging, these are some of the things we used to tell people in my group sessions. I'm on TV, I'm on radio. These are the things I used to educate young people to aware that it's not helping in any ways. God will not make you intelligent. Like I was on AYV last Friday, one of the texters said, God will help you to, I believe all of us here, we are above 18, isn't it? One of the texters said, if you take drug and alcohol, you will help your sexuality. And I went home, I read properly about it. They also told us that if you go into drug at an early age or you continuously drug also will lead to an individual to become impotent. So if someone say drug will help you to become sexually active, these are one of the reasons why a lot of young people take drug. Let them bear in mind also that continuous drug and alcohol misuse will also lead to impotency. You will not function as a man. So these are all the implications of drug. And for the food system, we know our country is very challenging. Even you have money to eat good food is very challenging. So if you go in for this cheap hard liquor, what will happen to you? So it's very, very, very challenging.
We'll come back to my concern about the diapers, and then we'll I'm really, interested in knowing if that's reality or just a rumor. Elizabeth, I would like to know, who are the most vulnerable people to drugs in our society?
Hi, thank you, Musa. So as Sahid was talking, I was just like nodding my head because one thing we are not able, as young people, if I come to your question, we are not able, why people are misusing drugs? We are not actually able to classify the categories of drugs. Because if you are able to classify them, you actually be able to, if you want to take them at all, it will guide you on the uptake of it. So drugs actually are being categorized into different categories. So the people that are more vulnerable to this, to the use and misuse of these drugs, they are young people. For instance, if, as I also said, I was just putting down some points. We have drugs that are actually for depressant. This one is actually, you take something to relax. Like for instance, alcohol. Maybe you are tired. But one thing also you should realize is that what leads to the abuse is the excessive take of it, the addiction part of it. That's what leads to its abuse. So as I was saying, the people that are more vulnerable are we all sitting here today, young people. We are more vulnerable to the use and misuse of drugs, be it alcohol, be it opioids, be it cannabis, be it whatever it's called, whether it's benzodiazole, whatever it is, we are more vulnerable. Because we take it, we don't even know the category of drug we are taking. We don't even know the limit we are taking. And at the end of the day, we found out that the future, we are ruining the future. Because we young people, we hold the future. So the more we take it, the more we abuse our lives, the more we abuse the future, the more we abuse the generation that is coming after us. So that's why as young people, it is very, very significant that we are here today to discuss about drugs and its misuse. It's so important for us today to find solutions as to what we have to do as young people. Because it's not just about us now sitting here. Go to your community. What do you have to tell those that are taking drugs? Because tomorrow, if you as a young person, you didn't take a stand, if tomorrow somebody goes out and misuse drugs, he'll run back or run after you one day to hurt you, or even break into your house. You never can tell. So that's why we need a collaborative effort. We need to come together as young people to ensure that the intake of drugs among young people who are more vulnerable is being mitigated in Sierra Leone. Sometimes if you could ask me, I would say we young people, we are athletes because we are more vulnerable. And the future, our future as well is athletes. I know it's difficult because we didn't have job. The opportunities are not available for us. There is a lot of challenges we are facing. But does that lead us into drug that will ruin our mental, our physical, and our social well-being? So this is something I think today we are talking about World Mental Health Day. And today the topic is so significant. It's good that young people are here so we can discuss it.
Yeah.
We are vulnerable, we are at high risk, and we as young people, we also have the power to transform the society because age is our power, is our strength.
Yeah.
We have the power, we can do it.
Great. It's so well said, in terms of the vulnerability of the youth. And that's reality. It's not that surprising. What always surprises me is how we as a society are failing our youth. Because as you said, you talked about the governments, not bringing the enabling environment that they owe the society, that they owe the youth. So yes, parents have at a certain point, and at a certain range, failed the youth because of not orienting them, guiding them as it's supposed to be, but also as activists most of the time we fail to realize that when our youth are addicted to drugs, even the empowerment we're trying to arrive at, the development we're trying to arrive at is jeopardized because you cannot have young people participate actively in that development if they're really under drugs. That's really important. Thank you so much, Liz, for that. Just wanted to come back and know more about my concern with the diapers. Like straightforward, is it something that really our youth are using for them to get high and just like get away from their issues?
Yeah, a lot of youth are using it. Even some of the boys that I worked with, some confide in me. They said they use it. Because I did a research. I remember vividly we had a training months ago, I think, in Ghana. I heard about it in Ghana before, when we came in Sierra Leone, late in November last year, the issue popped up in Sierra Leone. Some of these people use this diapers to transport drugs. So I don't know how Sierra Leonean youth got to know about it. So some of them started using it and everything. So some of them, it helped them. According to them, they sleep a whole lot. And I used to tell people that drug is not the problem in Sierra Leone. The problem is how we are going to fix it as a nation. That's the biggest problem that we are having. Drug is not the problem. In some points, we all talk about mental health. We talk about traditional beliefs. People are dying in silence because they find it difficult to express how miserable they are feeling in society. So if young boys decided to go into drug and using diapers, unemployment is not the problem because we have university students that go into drugs. Are they telling us that some of those boys in the university, they are unemployed, that's why they go into drug?
But they're going through hard time finding even fees for their classes, or even like money to buy books or take
That's why I say
transportation.
unemployment is not the problem for them to go into drug and alcohol. We have people that are working, they go into drug. We have children from influential homes, children whose parents got money. They go, most of them take drugs more than even the poor boys. These ones are using the cheap drugs. We have people with, we have some Sierra Leoneans we have some people in Sierra Leone whose parents happens to be like a household name in the country. Their children go into drug and alcohol. You want to tell me that is because of unemployment? No. So unemployment is not the problem that young people go into drug. That's why I say drug is not a problem. The problem is how are we going to fix it as a nation? It's a collaborative fight.
Sorry, Sahid. So let me ask the question in this way. Since now, some people are just finding excuses and saying either it's unemployment or let's say hard times. So what is the issue when now not only those who are like in impoverished situations using drugs, but even those who are really at ease, don't have any societal issues are using it. So what exactly is the problem that leads to the use of drugs for those use?
Like I said, some could be the environment. Some could be peer pressure. Some could be an inborn. Maybe one from a family wherein everybody is misusing drug and alcohol. The tendency for you to go into drug is very, very high. So
Influence.
like I was talking to one of my tutors. One of my friends going to drug. I told her, oh, this person needs job, that's why he's taking drugs. Did you know what she told me? She says, Sahid, unemployment is not the problem. If your friend needs job, he or she needs to stop going into drug and alcohol. So if he or she got a job, he or she will be able to concentrate to do the work. So unemployment is not the problem if someone going to drug and alcohol.
I'll definitely come back to this because I'm still a bit confused, and I'm sure the audience is also. So Liz, I know you want to add something to what Sahid was saying. Just wanted to know, because what we are looking for in this discussion is to find solutions, exactly to nail the problem and try and see what's leading the youth to using and abusing drugs. So yes, he mentioned peer pressure, and influenceability of the youth and all. So I just wanted to know if at the same time, what is called recreational use of drugs, like what he said, people who just maybe are looking for sexual performance, better sexual performance, are maybe having recourse to drugs or any other needs, but just the intention is to use it as a recreation, but then they end up being addicted. Is that what leads them to it? What exactly is it?
Okay. Drugs of itself, according to the pharmacologists, they said it's a chemical substance that we use in the prevention and the cure or even treatment or for a diagnosis of a disease. So not that it's entirely bad. It's being used either for treatment, it's being used either for prevention or to diagnose a symptom of a disease. Or otherwise, it still could be used for physical or mental well-being of someone. But because they are being misused, they are being used excessively, as I've said earlier on. That's why today we talk about drug misuse. And we see young people in the state that are being mentally disordered. Yeah, because these are some of the effects. So today, Sahid, we are asking Sahid about the Pampers, and one of his strong contention is that it's not as a result of unemployment, but I'll categorically say for me, unemployment is one of the factors. When initially young people started using drugs in Sierra Leone, this one is on record. You can go back to AYB on November last year. Is it not? It's not November last year. It's this year when we have the first lockdown, and that was when we started this thing of Pampers shoot up. And one of the key things I could still vividly remember on the TV, that the guy was emphasizing on that now that we have lockdown, I don't have opportunity to go out and find for myself food to eat. I'm not employed. Is that I have to work on a daily basis. I have to find for myself on a daily basis. And what I find for the day is what I eat. So now that we are on lockdown for 3 days, I'm gonna take this Pampers. So I'll sleep for 3 days and wake up only after 3 days. So at the end of the day, I'll not feel hungry. I'll not feel any pain. I'll not feel anything. So these are some of the reasons. if I've got opportunity as a young person, if I'm not being so frustrated, I've come out of college and there's no work to do. At the end of the day, I see my colleagues, maybe some of them are opportune and they're at higher places. You become frustrated and you find somewhere to find solace. And the only way you can go is to get yourself involved in taking any of these drugs. It could be for depression, because these are one of the categories of why people take drugs, depression. But at the end of the day, what actually are we looking at? And just as you said, we are looking for solutions. The problems are not, and there are so many. But now we are trying to find out the solutions to some of these problems. Young people, we are addicts. That's what I can say every day. Sahid was talking about maybe well-to-do people engaged in drugs. Just as he said, sexual arousement also could be one of the factors, especially for people that are getting old. They say, I need energy, I need strength to do it. So these are some of the things. In as much as they are using it excessively, they still boil down to the fact that they are being misused by them. And at the end of the day, it has got an effect on them. It weakens your muscles, even young people. And I remember a few weeks back, I was at the beach here, and a very young guy told me, if I could have a very beautiful girl now, I would just say, let me go to the pharmacy. There was one substance he called, I couldn't remember anymore. And I said, what does that do? He said, this is where it means you are not in line in this current game. So it's actually, according to him, he gives him power. He can do like 3 hours, you understand? He can engage himself for 3 good hours. And you look at yourself, your condition. You don't even imagine your muscles. You don't even imagine that there's something they call, what's it now? The stroke. It will happen at any time. You have a heart failure. So all of this you are doing as young people, you think, okay, we are on top of situation, we are in line now. But you are killing yourself slowly. At this time, it looks so sweet in the mouth. But what does the future holds for you is what is important. This is what we should be discussing now. It's not about today, but what about tomorrow? We have seen for this past couple of months, we have seen series of young people are dead now. With so many reported cases of young people that have been dead. So we start to ask ourselves, where are actually these problems coming from? We don't know. These things we are taking, we think they are minor, and just as I was saying, these cheap ones, they are killing us slowly, they are killing our kidneys, and we are not even able to ascertain what the problem has been. Because medically, we are not strong. We didn't have equipment, in fact, to scan whether it was as a result of medical collapse or other things or liver problems. So we see the problems. There are so many. That's why we as young people, we need to mount this challenge. We need to stand up for ourselves. Go out to your community, preach to others. It's difficult. Somebody that has started taking drugs, for him to resist is going to be a challenge. Just as Sahid was saying with regards to his own brother, it's going to be a challenge. But can we relate? No. It's the same thing that we're fighting against rape and other social issues today in our society. It's a continuous process, so therefore we cannot relate.
That's really very true and so deep, we all relate to the passion, that you have about all that, because the reality is, as I was saying before, we're failing our youth, and one of the ways we are failing our youth is to sell them lies, to tell people that what is important is how you perform, sexually, but not how you mentally and psychologically feel about yourself. Because happiness doesn't have to do with you separating the rest of your life with let's say your marital status and the happiness you have sexually or stuff. It has to do with what are you looking for in life? Who are you? What do you stand for? It's not because your peers are looking for X that you are forcibly going to look for that. So that preparedness and that strength that we need to have, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, is still where we are failing each other. Because as you rightly said it, we all need to involve ourselves, because we all know people who are maybe very prone, very close to getting into drugs. How do we support them? Because it takes all of us and each one of us for it to end.